Let me give the format so everyone understands it. We are going to allow each candidate to give an opening 2-minute statement. The candidates will draw a random question. They will hand it to me. I will read the question out loud, hand it back to the candidate, at which time this candidate will be given 1 minute to answer that question only. We'll also give them a moment to collect our thoughts about what we might talk about before they answer that question. And then that question that's asked will be dead, and we'll move into the jar to the next candidate. They'll pick one, and we'll do the same thing again. And on down the line. At the end of 3 questions, and we're hoping we do have time for 3, we will give each candidate 1 to 2 minutes for a closing statement. Keep in mind that we have a timekeeper, please, keep in mind, and we are going to stand firm on the 2 and 1 minute answers. So if Linda raises her card and says you have 30 seconds, you have 29 seconds. So if you would be so kind as to respect it to that so that we can move this form along as quickly as possible, greatly appreciate it. With that said, I would love to introduce our first candidate, District 2, Dave Pratt. Our second candidate, Stephen. I'm going to give you the opportunity to talk about yourself. Our third candidate, Claire McNeil.
Hi.
Our fourth candidate, George Turnbull. And fifth candidate, Chris Amaral. Okay, let's get this started. We have the jar up here. Okay, well, let's start with Mr. Dave Pratt. Would you like to take 1 minute and tell us about you and what you're talking
about? 2 minutes, okay. I was thinking 1, so I can always add. But thank you very much for hosting this. I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for doing this. This is a great opportunity. My name is Dave Pratt, and I'm a winemaker, I'm a grape grower, and I'm a community volunteer. And over the, together with my wife, we own DK Cielo Winery down in Fairplay. My journey to this point started with working on the general plan, representing the Colorado Wine Grape Growers Association. That was in 2002. We commented on 4 general plans that got boiled down to 1, and it was passed by the residents. After that, I was appointed to the Colorado County Agricultural Commission, and 4 years later, I was asked if I would be willing to be planning commissioner for District 2 by Ray Nutty. That's where I am today. I'm currently on the planning commission, year number 6. That's a volume of work, 12 years of experience and exposure to the general plan, actually applying land use and zoning, listening to applicants, listening to residents, listening to concerns, figuring out mitigations. We've done a lot of work in that 12-year window. The platform is we're working on, we need to work on jobs and the local economy. Our functional unemployment rate in Cameron Park is probably 10 or 12%. The numbers say 5.5. I'm not sure if I buy that. Fair play. District 2 is probably 20 or 25% unemployed. So if we're not talking about job creation, we're not talking about health. Finish by saying, we're not talking about a healthy economy, we're not going to take the next step forward. Thank you.
Now I'd like to present Sheila Frenzy.
Good evening. First, I want to thank the Chamber for hosting this event and thank all of you for taking your time to be out here. So I would like to tell you a little bit about myself, what I have accomplished in the community and in the county, and where I stand on the issues. I have lived in Cameron Park for the past 22 years, built my business for the past 15 years. I have served on the Karen Park Community Services District for the past 3.5 years, past president of the Uvalde County, and she was raised Karen Park Chambers of Commerce, volunteer on many boards, Snowline Hospice, and I'm still on that board, Rotary Club of Karen Park, yay, and the immediate past president. And the first commissioner on the Economic Development Advisory Commission. Issues in front of us, we have some immediate issues and some long-term planning. The most important issue is the land use planning and the resources that we have. We have limited resources when it comes to road and water. And we have many overdevelopment projects in front of us. You know about Marble Valley, 4,000 homes, San Estino, 1,000, in a lot of hills, 1,000 for the free community golf course. I am a proponent of a measure that's going to go on the ballot in November to stop these projects and put some sense into land use planning. And I will tell you more about where I stand on the other issues: economic development, jobs, agriculture, tourism. Agritourism is really important to me. And fire safety, public safety, senior citizens, children, youth, and I think I'm running out of time. Thank you. Yeah.
The hard part is actually stopping it over there. Okay, next we'd like to introduce Claire McNeil.
Well, just like the rest of them, I want to thank you guys for coming out today. And wow, this is a really different situation for me because I'm usually behind the candidate, hoping to get somebody elected on a state level or federal level, something like that. But I'm Claire McNeil, and I've lived in this county for nearly 20 years. I live way out in Happy Valley, way out in the boonies. I really do understand rural living. I mean, my closest neighbor is 150 acres for me. The things that I've done in this county over the years, also I should say I'm a business owner too, are not as like Dave or like Sheba, but I've served as vice chair of Republican Women. I've served as vice chair of the Central Committee. I have lost my train of thought is what's happening. I've served on different small commissions, things like that. I have commented a lot on federal issues with regards to the environment. I have counseled and helped write legislation for things like workers' comp reform over the years. So I'm not out front like that, but I'd like to be out front this time. And I think what I can bring to the table is a strong voice for jobs and for our community. Give people a voice in the community. Just, I don't know how to say it, it's in the heart. But to make that board so that people can come up and talk and be a part of the community and know that there's somebody there that's going to listen and advocate for them. Thank you.
Well, so next, gentleman, George Sternberg.
Hi everyone, I'm glad you came out today to listen to all the different candidates here, and they all have different issues that they're supporting, but I think mine's kind of one of a kind. Let me tell you a little bit about my history. Our family goes back to the early 1800s here. That's a long time. You know, there's a lot of family relatives I have, the Nilsons. The Pollocks Pines, the old Pollock family was named after our, which is a part of our family. I care about this county. I support the 1, 2, 3 petitions. You gotta understand that this is all volunteers that did this. These people put this thing forward out of their own kindness of the heart and worked very, very hard to get these initiatives put on the ballot. And I support this 110%. I am saying to you right now that, you know, there had to be something back then when my family settled here in the 1800s. They liked the rural atmosphere. And I'm going to ask you this question. Why did you move to El Dorado County? Are you asked yourself that question? Isn't it because you like the rural atmosphere? It's because you wanted to get out of the hustle and bustle of the big city? So why change it? I'm here to protect our rural atmosphere. I care about this county. I have strong family values. I've been in business for 42 years. Same place, same location. I was 19 years old. Can you imagine a 19-year-old kid today owning their own business? I don't think so. Not today. I have worked since I was 11 years old. I worked for John Escobar, picking pears and changing irrigation pipes. I went to work at Zoller Chevron when I was 13. I had to hitchhike or walk to work on the weekends to go to work. I just care about this county and its concerns. So I want you to consider me when the next time you vote. When you go to that voting booth, remember my name, George Turner. Thank you.
Last but not least, we have a gentleman, Chris Emerald.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Business is kind of near and dear to my heart, and it's going to really play a big focal point in my campaign. So I think this is a good place. This is going to be a good place to kind of kick things off here for the next month and a half. So, good evening. My name is Chris Amrell. I'm running to be a candidate for District Supervisor, District 2. You know, I'm very concerned about the device of politics and the outside influence in this county. In fact, it's really a recipe for disaster. I'm running for county supervisor because I think we can do better. And I've got some ideas to get us there. I'm not coming to you as a politician tonight, but I'm coming to you as an independent voice. That has a real strong desire to serve in public service here and support the residents of the county. I've ran over 2 decades worth of private sector experience, specifically working with government agencies to make them more efficient, think a little bit more strategically. And probably during that time, the last decade or two, I've probably saved the taxpayers untold millions of dollars. El Dorado County deserves a supervisor that owes favors to no one. And let me be clear, I do believe character counts, and that's going to be a big part of this election. Tonight we're going to discuss many types of issues, and a lot of these issues have been around and have lingered for some time now. And we have an opportunity to put some resolve to them. The county needs to finalize a strategic plan, and they need to get the residents involved in that process, and they need to produce tangible results. To move the county forward, I suggest we spend less time focusing on rooftops, and we spend more of an emphasis on economic vitality. And it looks like I'm coming to end here. Anyway, you know, I've come here because I believe in good, efficient government. That's why I'm running. I'm going to be looking for your support this evening and next month and a half, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Let's give, again, a warm welcome applause for all of our candidates for this. We'll go ahead and get the questions started. Once again, I'd like to remind everyone, keep your time constraint based on what Linda here says. She cracks the whip on me. So please, if you would, keep that kind of constraint.
I think just please.
You think?
If we could
Should we want them?
Okay, very good.
find out.
Number 1 question, Dave Pratt. Okay. I can read loud. How do you address the severe drought issue in this county now, but also in the years extension money. But also in the future years, since much of District 2 is out of it.
Can you repeat the question, please? We can't hear you back here.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, and it's hard to read too because it's not very legible. I apologize for that. How do you address the severe drought issue in this county now, but also in the future years since much of District 2 is ag? Everybody catch that?
Well, right now, everyone's talking about water because of the drought. And we're on year 3 of a rain shortfall. Cycles happen, and we'll come out of it just like we do, always do. But we can't stop talking about water once it starts to rain. And that's part of the problem is that the switch doesn't flip on and say we can do more things now because it's raining. We have to work on storage. And agriculturally, we have to work on alternative supplies to the South County. The agricultural areas there are largely on wells. There's spots that are not. Most of it is on wells. And there is no drought protection. So we're going to have to work with EID to have an alternative water source and agricultural water delivered either via ditches or through pipes to our ag areas in order to ensure that rural economy stays functioning. I'm done.
Okay, Sheila Frenzy, your question. How do you feel about El Dorado Hills becoming a city?
I couldn't get that question. So, as you all know, El Dorado Hills tried to become a city a few years back, and it did not pass. El Dorado Hills becoming a city is going to have a negative impact on El Dorado County because the rest of the county is going to have less tax dollars to go based on. It is something that you cannot stop the residents to pursue. If they can do their research, make sure that it makes financial sense, they can sustain, it is something that they are going to pursue. And I really, as a county supervisor, it's going to be challenging to fill that void and hole as far as sales tax dollars go.
Claire? What interests you about this elected position?
What interests me about this elected position? What interests me is the opportunity to represent the voting public in a way that I feel that their real needs are heard and understood and voiced and represented to the rest of the districts and the rest of the supervisors. What interests me about it is that I think that the Board of Supervisors has become secular. And I think that we're individualized when we should be working together as a unit for the betterment of the entire county. And that's what interests me about it.
Okay, thank you. We're a little antiquated here in our mic setup. We apologize. Okay, so next, your turn. Okay, our current Board of Supervisors is considered by many to be dysfunctional. How will you work to overcome this barrier to get better things done?
Well, that's a good question. Let me tell you a little bit of, is this on? Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, everybody in the back hear me? The problem is with me. I'm on the Solid Waste Advisory Committee for this county. There was a solid waste plan that I worked very, very hard for, and we implemented it into this county. And you know one thing about it? It won a state award. This thing won a state award. Not only that, 32 counties adopted this plan, and also 105 different cities. That's what I am. I'm thinking outside the box. The supervisors today don't. They don't think outside the box. Let's take, for example, our national forest. There's a good example right here of what's going on. They talk about coordination, 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 coordination. Has anybody done anything? No. It seems to me it's stagnant. If I was your supervisor today, sorry if I'm getting a little passionate because I care about what's going on here. But if I was your supervisor today, I would start an initiative drive, a petition drive, by all the residents of El Dorado County to put pressure on the federal government and the state to open our public and private banks. Thank you.
Okay. All right, let's move on here to Chris Amaral. What is your plan to balance the needs of the rural South County with those of Hammond Park?
Well, I think what it comes down to is it's really the will of the people. I'm sorry. I think it's really the will of the people. We're looking at urban areas versus more rural there. But even the rural areas, I think they do a very good job at promoting industry and supporting their needs there. I think that in the plan, I'm a big proponent of getting the residents involved in the planning process. And I see my job here, and it's just kind of like being in the public sector, is is allowing them to support my agenda and pushing that through. And I think that what I've heard when I've kind of surveyed the land is that the rural wants to stay rural, and the urban has some different ideologies there. And we have a very unique county, and we have to address those to the residents.
Okay, thank you very much. So let's go on back to Dave on round two. Okay, Dave's question. What interest do you have in our business park?
I'm not sure which business park we're talking about, but here we go.
District 2 Business Park.
District 2 business parks. We have a few. Diamond Springs. We have some business down here in Cameron Park too. This is a little business park in Shingle Springs. You know, this is the type of businesses that are the non-retail side, but it's also the type of businesses that can, if they're vibrant and they're growing, can add jobs gracefully because they have the capacity to do so. Sometimes it's supplies. I support a wine storage facility, so they're taking wine in case it gets. There you go, perfect timing, All right, stop. I lost my train of thought. Okay, Linda have you on stop already? It's on the court. But these are places for businesses that can expand. It's manufacturing, it's light manufacturing, it's smaller businesses, and they've made that transition from an expanded home occupation type business and moved on to the next phase. And we want to see that and encourage that. The main thing with the business is to get past survival and into a thriving mode. Thank you.
Good for you, Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. How would you, as a county supervisor, address the homeless in our county?
Okay, so homeless is a big issue. I can tell you that as part of the Cameron Park Rotary Club, we did a needs assessment, and homeless was one of the top issues in this county. There are a lot of organizations, the service organizations like Cameron Park Rotary Club. There are some churches who are very passionate about this. And the county has some resources. As a county supervisor, I would encourage all these organizations and entities working closely with the resources that we have at the county level to find the best solution for homeless. And the best solution for homeless is not just to give them a place to stay, it has to be a long-term plan to make them independent so they can live on their own, have a job to sustain and support themselves. And that's what I would provide.
Very good. Next. Can you hear me back there okay now? Sorry. Claire McNeil, you are next. Are you okay with El Dorado County continuing to allow cannabis clubs here in El Dorado County for patients that need them?
Am I okay with allowing El Dorado County? I don't know. I guess I have mixed feelings about it. As long as it's legally acceptable, I don't think I would have a right as a supervisor to do anything to prevent it, but I would certainly keep a big, hard eye on it. Because I don't want to say anything, but in my neck of the woods, there tends to be some issues with that, and crime can be a problem. So I guess overall, I would say as supervisor, I'd keep a short leash on it, and I'd keep a tight leash on it. I'd make them toe the line.
Thank you, Claire. George? Okay, George's question. Given the condition of our overgrown, unhealthy forests, do you see this condition as being a health and safety issue? When you become a supervisor, would you declare a state of emergency in our forest?
Can you hear me? You know, being on the solid waste plan, I put something in place, and we talked about it a lot with our committee. And I needed to see Camino get dissolved because we had cogen plants in Camino where we could actually go into these national forests and open them up to bring a lot of the dead debris out and use it into these cogens to produce electricity for a county. It's a very, you know, we got to think outside the box. Not only does it cut down the fire danger, it saves our forest, and it brings more jobs and more development to our county. That's what we got to do. We have to create jobs here. We do to be able to support our county. It's not about putting rooftops on. It's about creating jobs. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Chris? Grab your next question.
You're letting me take it first?
Yeah, I can see one. Is the El Dorado National Forest in danger of wildfire, and what should be done?
Well, I think we certainly need to do our due diligence when it comes to.
Could you speak up, Chris, at the back? Right here.
Yes.
I would say that probably most would agree that poses a danger, that there needs to be some hygiene done there, there needs to be some work done in that area to mitigate, that these questions are going quick here. I certainly support, I believe that we need to emphasize and put more funds back into that area and support the, in terms of supporting the, I'm sorry. And I do believe that poses a risk in this campaign. I'm sorry.
That's okay. All right, so do we have time for one more? Okay, we're going to do one more round of questions, and then we're going to have a 1 minute, 2 minute closure. Go ahead, Dave. Dave, what kind of job experience do you have that relates to making decisions for District 2?
See if I can stretch the microphone more here. My career was with, I started at a company called Cable Data when I was in California. I was technical. I learned software, computer operations, hardware. I quickly became a manager and a leader. My career evolved into sales and marketing alliances in other companies. I've been down the path of talking with executives at the boardroom level. We've talked strategy on product lines. I've been down this decision-making path. And then the last piece, the most recent piece, is serving as your planning commissioner for the last 6 years. We make decisions every 2 weeks. We're talking with people, we're asking questions, we're trying to get to the bottom of what's going on and make sure that everyone is protected inside of that process. So I'm perfectly comfortable with the decision-making process. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Okay, Sheila, your next question. Jobs are needed for economic health in El Dorado County. What is your plan to create more jobs?
Okay, as I mentioned, we have limited resources. When we give incentive to a developer to bring large development projects, residential projects here, we are taking away from our opportunities to bring jobs here. We need to direct our staff at the county level that we need to go after jobs. 70% of our workforce is going down the hill to work in Sacramento. That adds to traffic and our sales tax dollar leaks. So in order to overcome that, we need to put our resources, our staff, and the incentives that we want to give to these developers for bringing jobs to our county. We have beautiful business parks in El Dorado Hills and in Camel Park, Shingle Springs, and plenty to expand on. We can bring high-paying jobs and support our local businesses as well and help with sales tax dollar leak.
Thank you, Sheila. So we're going to move forward here with Claire. Thank you.
Sorry for not standing last time. I was too relaxed.
Claire, what are your qualifications for the job of County Supervisor in District 2?
What are my qualifications? Well, running a business for 40 years with, at one time, 120 employees before we had the whole .com crash. But we've made it through that, and we've been in business for 36 years, and we've just started to turn it over to our adult children. So doing that, I've learned how to use rules and procedures and learned how to communicate with people and look for solutions to problems that exist. Well, I'm in light manufacturing. I have a fabrication company in, actually in Santa Clara County. We're from there originally. My husband and I were born and raised there. But anyway, the skills that you learn running a business help me as a supervisor, because I know that I'm going to have to deal with a lot of different issues and sometimes quickly, and I'm going to have to be able to spin on a dime to make my district grow, but also to work together.
Thank you, Claire. Okay, George? One.
Read it.
George, everybody talks about jobs. Very specifically, how will you go about creating more jobs, and how long will this require?
Well, the thing is it's a big issue with jobs here in our county. We have business parks right now that are empty. I would like to see a lot of small manufacturing companies come to our county to help support it, especially the tax base that we need. And we need to go out and get them. The problem is everybody's been dragging their feet. Nobody has done anything to produce jobs. Everybody talks jobs, jobs, jobs. In the last debate, when I ran in 2012, jobs. But has our current supervisors done anything? No, not at all. So my goal is to make sure that I go out, bring these businesses here to support our county, which we need. It's not about putting rooftops on. It's about creating jobs. There are so many people out of work in this county right now. It's really sad. People are struggling to make ends meet. People losing their homes. And as a supervisor, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go out and get those people to come to our county. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's move on here. The last question for Chris.
What, as a supervisor, can you do to increase jobs in our area? Same question. Different person.
So I think this is a hot topic in this area. So I live in El Dorado Hills, and I actually live across from the business park there, the largest business park there.
Can't hear you.
And it is a ghost town over there. It's pretty amazing there. So what I would look to do is I would look to, first of all, incentivize businesses to move there, to relocate there, provide opportunities there, to retain businesses. I've seen some businesses go to Folsom. I don't know why. Maybe because the lease was more, it made sense there. But I think that there's more that we need to do, and not just look at the types of industry, the types of business we want to put in there, but the right types of businesses. So we want to put in clean businesses. We want to put in green businesses. We have the opportunity to shape this as a county. And I do believe that economic vitality is what's going to be the engine to drive the county forward in the years to come.
Thank you. Okay, folks. We have more cards and we still have time, so we would like, unless there's a disagreement, to do one more round of questions. We good with that?
Can I suggest that if it's the same question over again, that you
Okay, for Dave Pratt, describe your greatest achievement.
Describe my greatest achievement. Your greatest achievement.
My greatest achievement is my family. I've been married to Kim for nearly 28 years. My daughter is just provided us with our first grandchild, and much of my personal satisfaction is the fact that I enjoy my life with her. I enjoy my life with my family. I love to see my kids are growing up and starting to show some signs of life and some spunk like I did when I was that age. Work is one thing, but family can never be replaced, and that's my greatest achievement. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Shiva, what do you believe is most important change needed in El Dorado County at this time? And what would you do to accomplish this?
The biggest change that we need in El Dorado County is to have a vision for what's best for our county long term. and not what's the easiest in front of us. As the county supervisor, I will continue to advocate for the residents and look at the long-term health of this county as far as the jobs, economic development, agriculture goes, and preserve those services and those sectors for our county. That's it. That's all I can do.
Okay. Thank you. Claire? Claire, if you could change one thing in this county government, what would it be?
If I could change one thing in this county's government, I think I want to, in fact I know, I want to change the mindset of division, of the thought that I have mine, if you will. I don't know how quite to say it. There seems to be a lot of, this is my spot, and this is my spot, and this is my spot. And I think that as a government, we need to all work together. The departments need to function together instead of being at the risk of being hated. They're little fiefdoms sometimes. And I'd like to see some process and some procedure put into those things so that they all coordinate and work together for the good of the people, which is what we're paying their salaries to do for us.
Thank you, Claire. As we move on to George.
George, from your perspective, list the most pressing need of District 2.
You know, perspective need in District 2. Like I talked about rural lifestyle. We need to retain that rural lifestyle in this county. Also, I want to bring back integrity and honesty to El Dorado County. We need to bring it back. We haven't had it for a while. I care about this county because this is my home. I'm 8th generation in El Dorado County. You know, my son is 9th and my grandsons are 10th. That speaks for itself. I want to make sure we secure jobs for the future, make sure that we have the rural lifestyle here, so my children and their children don't move elsewhere. This is our home. And as your representative, I'll make sure that this is your home too. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Okay, one last question for Chris.
Okay, Chris's question. What would you do to encourage new emergency businesses to succeed in our county?
Well, I think this kind of coincides with my last question here. I think we definitely need to go after the right types of business. We need to bring this.
Can't hear you, please.
We need to bring this county in the 21st century here. So we need to incentivize the right types of businesses to be here. One of the things that I'd love to champion is I'd love to go ahead and champion a satellite university in this county. And there's been a proposal to put that close to the business park, where that could be an incubator for a lot of emerging businesses. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity there and things that we can do. I know a few years back we lost Intel, and that was a little bit unfortunate. But I know that there's a lot of businesses that would like to move to the area, and we have to make it right for them. We have to give them the right tax breaks and the right incentives to come up here. You know, it's a great lifestyle. I think, you know, there's a huge opportunity in that area.
Great.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, folks, let's give a warm applause for the answer. Okay, we're going to go ahead and finish up with 1 minute closing statements from each of the candidates. 2 minutes, I'm sorry. 2 minutes. And we will begin with the prep. For 1 minute to 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, I want to say, what a great turnout. I'm glad that there's so many people in the room interested in listening. You hear about special elections and low turnout, and I was hoping that we would have a full room. So thank you very much for everyone's time. To follow on to some of my opening comments, I'm a 25-year resident of El Dorado County. Our first home was in Cameron Park. My exposure to all parts of the county by being on the Ag Commission and being on the Planning Commission is an asset as a decision maker in a Board of Supervisor type role. I would also point out that knowledge is the basis for asking tough questions. And my hallmark on all these panels have been, I ask questions and I ask a lot of questions. And it helps if you have the base to be able to do that. I'm very much interested in the process for capturing and documenting our individual community identities. I think this is a really golden opportunity for the community to become engaged in the process even further than we have today, and in which we can create sustainable communities in which we can live, work, and shop, okay, spend our money locally. I also would like to invest time in helping to break down the barriers of communication with the government. I think there's much distrust out there, and we have to be talking all the time, not just when there's a project. We have to facilitate conversation, we have to facilitate discussion. We have to be working together and talking with each other, not at each other. And I'm committed to that particular process. With that, we have a representative government. I am your representative, hopefully, in the future. I'm asking respectfully for your vote. Thank you.
There's a stretch.
Well, I'm not a politician. I'm running for this supervisor seat to make a difference. We have a diverse district. After the redistricting was done, we are dealing with the suburb of Cameron Park and the rural area of South County. We need someone who has the experience and has been involved and knows about the issues. You heard all of us tonight. We all sound the same. We want to bring jobs. We all don't want to see, almost majority of us don't want to see rooftops and overdevelopment and a lot of other agriculture that we all agree on. What differentiates us is who has done it, who has been behind all these things and has gone out and come up with initiatives and to protect our residents, to protect our county and plan for our long-term health of the county. I have the background, I have served on the Cameron Park CSD board. As far as the dysfunctional government, I have the background and experience on all of that. So it can't get better. So I would continue to listen to the residents. I would continue to protect our water resources, our roads, and your wallets. And I have a website you can go to, like shiva.com. I have some material there. And I have a kickoff event tomorrow night. If you would like to come to, my ballot statement is there. If you have any questions, I would love to answer that. And I appreciate your vote on September 9th. Don't forget to vote by ballot or in person.
Thank you. Living in South County, I'm really aware of the lack of infrastructure, the lack of really 20th century 20th century technology. We have analog phone lines where we live. We don't have big shopping centers. We have one gas station. There's no competitive business atmosphere there. It's rural. That's fine. I choose to live there. I want it to be like that. Having said that, we need to have a balance between really rustic, and I'm not necessarily for a lot of homes being built in Shingle Springs or anyplace else. I like it this way. I like it quiet. But I also know, being a business person, that if you don't have homes, you don't have jobs. In order to attract jobs, we have to improve our infrastructure. We have to create incentives for businesses and a few homes to be built, at least along the lines of what the state mandates and what our general plan states in it, so that we can get these light manufacturing companies to be interested in our county, so that we can create a stable tax base. We don't have a stable tax base, and if we stay the way we are, we're not going to, and we can't rely on just one or two items as our taxes. We have to have a diversified tax base. So as supervisor, and I would ask for your vote for that, that would be my goal, would be to set up some rules and procedures within the county with the departments so we can get them set up so that they can serve our people better, so that they can process licenses and whatever else is needed for the citizens here or the businesses here to come and flourish. Thank you.
I'm going to step around over there here so I can hear. Well, let me say this. I'm an old-time, can you hear me? Old-time family resident here in El Dorado County. I care about the people. I care about their interests. And as a supervisor, I'm going to support those interests. I don't want to look like Folsom, and I don't think you do either. So I'm asking you, when you go to that poll, just remember to ask that question. Why did you move to El Dorado County? Just ask it in your heart. And the reason, if I know that reason, is because you like the rural atmosphere. And I'm going to retain that rural atmosphere. I don't want to see a bunch of rooftops. We need to create jobs, yes. But we have business parks right now that are empty. We need to bring these jobs to this county so we can generate these jobs. There are so many people out of work. People are talking about the unemployment rate. It's very, very high in this county. And by doing that, it'll put people to work. Not only support, like I was talking about, the cogen plant, creating jobs in our national forest. We have 70% of the land in El Dorado County is national forest. We need to use it. Natural resources, tourism, recreation, this is what we can bring to El Dorado County, but there's a hole on it right now. And that's why I supported this petition drive by every resident here, so we can open our national forest, so we can use it. So I'm asking you for that vote. Let's bring honesty and integrity back to El Dorado County. When you go in that voting booth, remember, vote George Turnbull. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Anyone else?
So I appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening. So my wife of 20 years and my 4 children, we live in El Dorado Hills, and there's nothing more that I like to see than them go to school here, work here, live here, and so, but I think we have a lot of work to do to get there. Like I mentioned, we've got the business park across the street from me. It's big and there's a lot of opportunity there. I think that's where we need to divert our focus more on the economic vitality, less on rooftops. So I think we have some opportunity there. I think the one thing that separates me from the rest of the group is I do come from the public sector, and there is a different set of expectations there. We're expected to see through, anticipated results, very results oriented. And so there's a lot of accountability, apparently a lot more accountability than Eldorado County right now. That's why I'm running. I believe in good, efficient government. I believe that there's a lot of opportunities. I believe that we can have a little bit of the private sector and the public sector, some best practices, but there's a way of doing that. And I've been very successful in that area. So I'm looking to gain your support. I'm hoping to get to know you over the next month and a half. This is a fairly quick election here. And I just thank you for showing up. And please check out my website. Go Chris Amrell. Go chrisamrell.com. And you can see my ballot statement, get a little bit more information on me. Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. Let's give an applause for all the work you're doing. Great job. Thank you. My name is Terry Rogers. I'm the Cameron Park Shingle Springs Chamber President, and I do want to thank all of you tonight for joining us. I believe the candidates here will be available to answer any questions, so those of you who actually put questions in the jar but didn't have them read or answered, maybe now is the time to directly go up to your candidates and ask those questions before we leave it. And we also want to thank Cielo very much for allowing us to have this training.